A very tall son named Barron. Has anyone ever heard of him?
March 20th, 2006. A child is born not just into a family, but into a legacy. His name? Barron William Trump. The only child of a real estate tycoon and a former supermodel, and the newest heir to one of the most powerful dynasties in American culture. His birthplace, New York City. But this wasn't a typical hospital to suburb story. Barron came home to the 66th floor of Trump Tower, where his nursery overlooked Central Park and the Manhattan skyline, a space not just designed for comfort, but for power. It wasn't long before the world took notice. Ellen DeGeneres famously sent a golden baby carriage as a gift. Yes, real gold. A playful gesture that said what everyone already knew. This child would grow up surrounded by wealth most people can't even imagine. His nursery? Custom designed. The walls? Decorated with hand-painted murals. His baby monitor? Connected to a security team, not just mom and dad. And he didn't share a floor with his parents. He had his own level, complete with a personal playroom, kitchen, and a separate wing for nannies. But beyond the gold and marble, this wasn't just about luxury, it was about image. From the very start, Barron wasn't just Donald Trump's son, he was part of the Trump brand. Every moment of his life, every piece of clothing, every photo, carefully curated, deeply scrutinized. He wasn't just raised to be rich, he was raised to represent something more. And yet, in the shadows of the empire his father built, one question lingered. Would this boy follow in the footsteps of his father, or would he carve out a legacy of his own? While most toddlers are discovering stuffed animals and learning to walk, Barron Trump was being moisturized with caviar cream. No, seriously. Melania Trump's luxury skincare line featured a caviar-infused formula that became part of her son's nightly routine. Because when you're born into wealth, even your baby lotion makes headlines. Barron's early life was a masterclass in indulgence. His wardrobe? Tailored designer baby clothes. While other children wore cartoon pajamas, Barron had mini Armani suits, custom-made blazers, and silk outfits curated by his former model mother. If Donald was a walking brand, Melania turned their son into a miniature CEO. Chauffeurs, security details, and private drivers weren't just for presidential campaigns. They were daily life for Barron before he could even spell his last name. Limousines replaced yellow school buses, and luxury SUVs flanked by Secret Service became his version of a stroller. And then came the media. At just a few months old, Barron made his television debut on the Oprah Winfrey Show, cradled in his mother's arms while Donald beamed beside them. Cameras, applause, and high-definition lights before he could even talk. Barron wasn't just growing up rich, he was growing up famous. By the time he was in preschool, Barron wasn't attending just any Manhattan playgroup. He was attending Columbia Grammar and Preparatory School, one of the most elite and expensive schools in the city. Tuition? Around $60,000 per year. Peers? Children of diplomats, CEOs, and celebrities. It was luxury education, built for a legacy. But behind the glamour, there was strategy. Melania insisted that Barron speak both English and Slovenian, blending old-world heritage with modern American royalty. Every detail, every appearance, every photo, designed to protect the image and sculpt the heir. In a world where children grow up on playgrounds, Barron was raised on a stage. And the question that lingers, was it a gift or was it a gilded cage? When Barron Trump moved into the White House in 2017, he wasn't just changing addresses, he was stepping into history. At just 11 years old, Barron became the first boy to live in the White House since John F. Kennedy Jr. That alone made him a historic figure, but in true Trump fashion. This wasn't going to be any ordinary White House experience. His bedroom? Custom designed to his exact preferences. The walls were lined with hand-picked decor. His favorite soaps and colognes were stocked in the bathroom. And even his bowling shoes were specially ordered in his size. Because yes, Barron had access to a private bowling alley right beneath the most powerful office in the world. He also had a home theater, basketball court, private pool, and 18 acres of presidential backyard. While other kids were going to amusement parks, Barron had the world's most secure playground, monitored 24/7 by Secret Service. But this wasn't just luxury, It was strategic. Every detail of Barron's life inside the White House was carefully curated to ensure comfort, security, and a sense of normalcy in a world that was anything but normal. Even the movie collection in the theater was updated just for him, offering him a small pocket of privacy in the most public house on Earth. Still, his presence remained a mystery. While the world was fixated on his father's every move, Barron was mostly kept out of the spotlight by design. Melania fiercely protected her son's privacy, ensuring that while the world watched, it could never quite see. And yet, he was always there in the background, towering over his parents as he stepped onto Air Force One, walking beside world leaders, present, poised, and growing into his own. He didn't ask for the spotlight, but it followed him anyway. And the question lingers, was the White House a home or a pressure cooker? Even before he was old enough to vote, Barron Trump was making headlines, not for what he said, but for what he wore. From a young age, Barron had a look. While most kids were in graphic tees and sneakers, he was stepping out in tailored suits, pressed slacks, and dress shoes, just like his father. But here's the twist. This wasn't forced. According to Melania, he liked to wear suits. Sometimes he even asked to wear a tie, just like Daddy. And so, while political commentators debated policy, fashion blogs were debating Barron's blazers. Was this a kid being styled, or was this a new kind of silent celebrity? As he grew taller, reportedly now 6'7" or even 6'8", Barron's presence became physically impossible to ignore. Photos of him towering over his parents went viral. Every public appearance became a topic of discussion. What brand was he wearing? What did his style mean? Some media outlets criticized the obsession, others leaned in. He was dubbed the most mysterious child in the White House, and even sparked predictions from style journalists. He could easily pivot into fashion, should he want to. The look, the legacy, and the platform are all there. But beneath the elegant jackets and polished shoes, one thing remained clear. Barron wasn't trying to be famous. He just couldn't avoid it. He didn't speak to the press. He didn't post on Instagram. And yet, the world kept watching. Was this just the cost of being a Trump? Or the beginning of something bigger? While most teenagers are just trying to pass finals, Barron Trump was attending some of the most elite schools in America, under the watchful eye of the Secret Service. His academic journey began at the prestigious Columbia Grammar and Preparatory School in Manhattan, a place where annual tuition exceeds $50,000. Students there study in buildings with centuries of legacy, rubbing shoulders with the children of CEOs, celebrities, and foreign dignitaries. But for Barron, education wasn't just about books. It was a security operation. Trips to Washington, D.C. with his classmates? Secret Service included. Soccer practice? Flanked by trained agents. Class photo day? Managed by a presidential protocol team. After his father's election, Barron moved on to St. Andrew's Episcopal School in Potomac, Maryland. The choice shocked some. It wasn't one of the typical DC elite academies, but Melania chose it for a reason. It emphasized whole child education, empathy, character, and service alongside academics. Teachers there described Barron as respectful, engaged, and quietly competitive. He studied STEM, history, and languages, and yes, continued practicing his native Slovenian with his mother at home. Later in 2021, Barron transferred to Oxbridge Academy in Palm Beach, Florida, founded by billionaire Bill Koch. There, he presumed private life, but with ocean views, professional golf coaches, and some of the best college prep curriculum money can buy. Outside the classroom, Barron played soccer, enjoyed golf, and according to school insiders, kept a small, loyal circle of friends. But here's what makes this chapter different from any other rich kid at private school story. Barron is not just another heir. He's the child of a former US president, growing up under 24/7 surveillance, with every GPA point and prom photo a potential headline. And yet, he's stayed silent. He's stayed grounded. Being born into wealth is one thing. Being born into a legacy, that's something else entirely. And Barron Trump isn't just the heir to a fortune. He's the future of a name that's been stamped onto towers, casinos, resorts, and ballots. From the moment he was born, Barron Trump's name was already part of something much bigger than himself. The Trump Organization, a global empire built on real estate, media, and political power. An empire with properties in over 20 countries and brand value once estimated in the billions. And while exact figures about Barron's trust fund remain private, multiple sources, like the South China Morning Post, have speculated that he stands to inherit a significant share of Donald Trump's personal wealth, which Forbes has recently estimated around $2.3 billion, depending on valuations. But here's the twist. Barron is the only child from Donald Trump's third and final marriage. He doesn't just represent the future of the family name, he's its most mysterious successor. Trump's other children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric, are all heavily involved in the organization. But Barron? He's still a blank slate, and that makes the public wonder. Will he be groomed to take over the empire? Will he eventually step into the Trump boardroom? Or maybe even politics? Or will he walk away completely and forge his own path? What's confirmed is this. Donald Trump has reportedly structured long-term trusts for all of his children. These financial vehicles are designed not just to preserve wealth, but to ensure continuity of power. For Barron, this means he could enter adulthood already holding multi-million-dollar assets, possibly more. But more importantly, he'll carry the weight of the Trump name, a name that's praised, criticized, feared, and revered across the globe. At 18 years old, Barron Trump is officially stepping into adulthood, and all eyes are watching. In April 2024, Barron made a rare public appearance at Mar-a-Lago for Easter brunch. Towering at 6'7" or even 6'8" depending on who you ask, he now literally stands above everyone, even his father. The image went viral, and not just because of his height, but because of the symbolism. The heir is no longer a child. But what's next? As of now, Barron hasn't made a definitive choice about college, though speculation points to elite universities like NYU, Georgetown, or even Wharton, his father's alma mater. But here's the bigger story. He's a blank canvas. He has no social media, no official business titles, no interviews, no scandals, just curiosity and pressure. And now, the media wants in. Just hours after Barron's 18th birthday, former NBC executive Mike Singleton posted, "He's fair game now." The backlash was immediate. Chelsea Clinton, who grew up in the White House herself, publicly defended him, saying, "Children of presidents, especially those not involved in politics, deserve privacy." But the message was clear. Barron Trump's shield of childhood is gone, and the world is hungry to know, what role will he play? Will he emerge as the next Trump political weapon? Will he take over the family business quietly behind the scenes? Or will he reject the spotlight altogether? Every move he makes from here on out will be dissected. Every silence will be interpreted. Every appearance, a statement. Barron Trump stands at a crossroads between legacy and identity, and the world is watching to see which road he takes. Barron Trump was born into a world of power, legacy, and unimaginable luxury. But now, he's no longer just the son of a president. He's a man with a name that carries weight, expectation, and history. Will he follow in Donald Trump's footsteps, or carve out a legacy of his own? Whatever path he chooses, one thing is clear. The world won't just be watching, it'll be waiting. And if you thought this story was fascinating, wait until you see the homes Donald Trump has built across the globe. Tap the video on screen now and step inside the billion-dollar empire that raised the world's richest kid.